staple of Kuro's champion pool, but it's all about Cry showing that he has a diverse champion pool of more than just Azir to justify him taking the spot of Kuro.
Yeah, for sure. We can see, though, going into the draft, it's going to be a Gangplank ban. First off from Tigers, really bizarre pickup there, or ban away from them.
Well, they want JinAir to ban Shen.
Sure. I just wasn't of the opinion that Trace's Gangplank was very much worth banning.
This is one of those things where if Kuzan can hold down the fort and you can baby Gangplank through the early game. Trace was an excellent Gangplank in the previous season, and the mind game does work. They do draw the Shen ban with their ban of Gangplank.
Taking that one off the board, LeBlanc away from Kuzan as well. We'll see where they want to go with the rest of this draft. With Vladimir notably still available, they could try to pick this one up for themselves in the first round, or force the ban out from the side of JinAir. Sivir will be the final ban from ROX. So did JinAir give up Vladimir, or did they take it away? I feel like it's going to be the latter.
I have to think the Vladimir ban will come through. It's a champion that Cry will be able to play just fine. We've seen him play Vladimir in the past already. There isn't really any other champions that shout out to be banned for the ROX Tigers, but they're actually going to ban away Jin. Interesting.
Very interesting. So they take the Jin off the board yet again, ban this in game 2.
So what is it to be as the answer for Vladimir?
Okay, so this is, I like this so far though from the side of JinAir. They ban out the Jin, the Sivir is gone, and they take the Ashe away from Prey. So now what does Prey go for? Does he go for something like a Lucian, perhaps a Caitlyn, which is not something that we see? Ezreal, actually, yeah, that's true. Something that could come out. But it's going to be Ashe and Gragas picked up here for Winged, and this is one of Winged's champions. He's very good with the Gragas.
ROX is surprised that Trundle wasn't taken in the second rotation, but maybe they'll actually take away the Trundle on the side of ROX Tigers. There's a flex pick. Gorilla plays it at support, and Smeb, of course, can play it in the top lane. And the Echo Hover is probably just a bit of fun. Showing all of Trace's champion pool.
Very worried if the Echo did come out. We've seen that from ROX in recent history. The Echo jungle from Peanut was very, very poor, but it will be Trundle picked up in Braum, so we know that that is going to be a Trundle top. We're still waiting on that 80 carry. With Braum, could be the Lucian. Could go for just the double tap, get that quick proc on the concussive blows.
Will it be third time's the charm for Cassiopeia versus Vladimir today?
I hope not, but it will be Alistar.
I think it's smart for JinAir to hold on to top lane as the last pick.
They're going to lock it, okay.
So the logic behind that is that if we had seen a Gnar come through as the answering pick to Trundle, I think we could really have seen a carry come through from Smeb to try to punish and just pivot the Trundle to the support role. So they're going to give Trace the best chance for a competitive matchup in the top lane. We're looking for 80 carry and top lane for ROX Tigers. Sorry, 80 carry and jungle, sorry.
Yeah, already hovered on the Ezreal. Definitely not so sure about the Kalista, so should just go for the Ezreal, something with very easy escape to get away from the Gragas, get away from that Petrifying Gaze, and the Headbutt Pulverize combo of the Alistar from Che. I think this is the most desirable pick that you can go as far as ADC goes. They agree, they will lock it in, and Elise in the jungle for good measure creates a little bit more pick potential, so now you have that with the Braum and the Pillar from Trundle to help create picks and opportunities to get some kills for the side of ROX. Last pick now, top lane for JinAir. What do they go for? They already showed the Gnar, and Trace had a very good game on it just now, so could opt to go back for that.
I mean, why not Gnar? If they're willing to take it in the Aurelia matchup, then the Trundle matchup is an even better one.
Yeah, he can't dash away from it.
From the Gnar's perspective. Peanut's had a lot of Elise bans sent his way. It's been double jungle bans against ROX Tigers for multiple series in a row, so the 4-on-1 Elise is now available to him. Can be a terror with his innovative pathing in the early game, but hard to see them go for anything other than the Gnar in this situation. But wow, this would be definitely different. It's locked in, so it's going to actually be Lissandra top from Trace.
Interesting. Lissandra, not a pick that we get a whole lot of. We saw a little bit of it yesterday from CJ in the mid lane, but it's not something that we see very much in the top lane. And this puts a lot of AP on the side of JinAir. Lissandra, Gragas, and Cassiopeia all going to be dealing massive amounts of AP, which means that the ROX Tigers very much going to be focusing on getting MR. That could create an opening for Pilot to do a lot of damage, but you have to expect that ROX are going to be able to optimize to mitigate the majority of this damage that's going to be coming out. Trundle, of course, for a Spectre's Cal. The Vladimir, almost certainly getting the Spirit Visage off the bat. This is a little bit worrisome on the side of JinAir, I have to say. I think they might have shoehorned themselves into one source of damage a little bit too heavily.
The laning matchup's not fantastic. Something like QSS obviously has a lot of value and gives you magic resist as well.
Yeah.
Kill pressure on a Trundle the moment he finishes Spirit Visage is basically gone. And the enemy AD carry is Ezreal, who can open up so much distance that even with a flank teleport, there's no guarantee you can lay out that CC, especially past a Braum. So why they went for the Lissandra? Now, the one thing she provides is wave clear. Cassiopeia, not the greatest wave clear. Ashe, decent, but
needs a Hurricane.
In the situation where Nara was an obvious pick, they elect for the Lissandra, champion that Trace has not played for a long time. So I remain to be convinced, but JinAir saw something that we did not.
And they did, but people have also been seeing this Cassiopeia as the counter to Vladimir, and I haven't seen that yet. So we'll see if they can prove us wrong on two fronts here, Papa Smithy. JinAir gonna try to close out, get their first match win, and God knows how long ROX Tigers holding on for dear life. Let's go ahead and get straight into game 3. All right, here we go. Last game of the night, last game of the week. And the JinAir fans are really coming out to play tonight.
Yeah, great to the fans. They tried to cheer their team into oblivion in game 2, and it worked. The team picked up their performance, and they're
very much been working.
Still a chorus of cheers for game 3.
Well, this is interesting. Actually, Kuzan is going with the Thunderlords. Not what we saw from Cry when he tried his hands at these Cassiopeia just last game.
I mean, even more interestingly, he's gone for the Ignite against Elise, which is risky.
Very risky at that.
Normally we would see Cleanse or Ghost as the option. Some form of defensive summon, I guess outside chance of a heal, but if you want to kill your opponent laner, then Ignite definitely tells you the full story.
It's very ballsy. Obviously will work well against the Vladimir, so just wants to have as much kill pressure as he possibly can.
I mean, dots have a lot of power. Of course, the Ignite will tick during the Sanguine pool, so more kill pressure is always a good thing when you want to hold down a Vladimir.
Meb just spamming away in the Trundle Dance. But we will just have a mirrored start here for the junglers. Starting on that top side, Krugs for JinAir and the Gromp for the side of ROX, and we're going to end up with our lanes matching. So we'll see how this Lissandra is able to handle the Trundle.
I mean, at the end of the day, ranged auto attacker, so Doran's shield start means that this map's basically going to deal with the laning phase, but a lot of the base values have been nerfed over patches for Lissandra, so kill pressure onto the Trundle, barring a really successful red buff gank from Winged, I think, is going to be pretty limited.
Yeah. And then Kuzan, of course, going to be very susceptible to those ganks from Peanut with that lack of cleanse, so going to have to be very fast on the trigger with the flash if he wants to get himself out of that dangerous situation.
The mind game that always comes through, though, is that if you build the flash the first time, suddenly a champion who has taken Ignite to punish lane will need to overextend pretty precariously to actually get any value out of that summon. So expect to see Peanut make plenty of visits to the mid lane.
Speaking of Ignite Fire, we do have an Infernal Drake, which will be our first one, so...
Do we have a Song of Ice and Fire?
You and your Game of Thrones.
You'll watch it one day, Achilles.
I will. I'll start it soon. Peanut roaming in, not going to be able to spot out Winged. Send that Spiderling up to the top just a little bit too late, and there's no Wolf Spirit that held him down, so hasn't quite gotten vision on this Gragas. Comes in for Kuzan, will force the flash right off the bat.
Well, there's a 5-minute window to be exploited.
Oh, you want some of this beautiful CS in the mid lane? Guess you have to push up.
Wow, Vlad's taking a lot of trade damage. Interesting. Mind games will be real. Ghost Flash, of course. The staple on Vladimir.
Look at this Vladimir. He's just letting me wail on him.
Another weird thing
grab the
about
spider.
Lissandra is that, again, if you want to comp against Vladimir, you want speed, which JinAir definitely haven't picked. You want disengage, which Vladimir, I mean, you can say the Gragas will do that. Lissandra, I guess, can do that, but isn't realistically going to be able to do that. I feel like this is the sort of short-range team comp that Vladimir, once again, can get those massive Hemopegs off, and Kuzan did it 1 game ago, so comp-wise, I feel like if ROX gets through the early game, Vladimir is going to have his way with JinAir.
Gross.
Probably. I imagine the results will be pretty gross.
It'll be a bloodbath.
Vladimir loves bloodbaths.
I know. He'll be in his element.
Interesting to see how much the nerfs and future patches will affect the play rate of Vladimir. Obviously, building the health and defensive items, you'll be doing less damage, but still will be very safe in the mid lane. And it's weird to think of Vladimir as a safe mid laner, a safe blind pick mid laner, but that's what he's evolved to with the mage rework.
Yep. I'm just waiting for the assassin rework to come through.
Really?
So
You're
they
looking
can-
forward to that?
Yeah, I want to see some talent.
We're never going to see talent.
I'm looking forward to talent. Come on.
There's not going to be any talent.
It's possible.
It's not possible.
You never know what they might do to overtune talent.
Well, he's getting a new passive, so can't be less interesting than his current passive.
I don't even remember what his current passive
He
is.
does 10% more damage to enemies that are CC'd.
Oh my god.
And his only CC is the mini stun. Let's say the mini slow
Yeah,
on
the
E.
slow on the,
And W, I guess, if you think about it. But
yeah, Rake gives you a slow.
it is, it's a weird passive. It's not very exciting.
I don't know. I just, I'm hoping that the assassin changes will really spruce up the amount of champions that we see in the mid lane. Ari as well, another one that I am interested to see get changed. I'm sure Ian is feeling that way as well.
Korean release champion, Ari. Released many moons ago now.
It has been quite some time.
Frey doesn't have much to worry about this game with his range. Lissandra, Cassiopeia, not realistically going to close on him. Obviously, there's a world where many flashes and gap closes later is closed down and killed, but you can do damage from such long range as Ezreal that he has persisted the meta. He's very much a survivor.
Ray gets jumped on. Gorilla with the quick reactions, just going to be blocking as much damage as he can.
I mean, if you get killed or even CC'd as Ezreal with Braum as your support, then you probably really screwed up in that positioning.
Very true. Unless you get hit with one of those point-blank enchanted crystalline arrows, but maybe you shouldn't posture that far forward. But so far, going to be a bit of a slow start. No tower swaps coming out. It's just going to be a very slight lead that's been established in this mid and top side as they inch out above their opponents.
About a minute and a half to take advantage of the flash being down for Kuzan. He does place a pink ward, so can cheat towards his bottom side. Looks like
Peanut
it'll
is
be
roaming
instantly
in,
cleared.
but yeah, they will be able to clear that one out. And I think Peanut's sitting out of vision. But there's one sitting there now in the river brush, and Peanut will get spotted as he comes through. We'll be able to clear that one with the Raptor buff. But it's going to be a little bit dangerous as Che is here. Gorilla backing him up. Looks like they're going to trade that for a pink. And yeah, actually, flash away by Che. One more hit, procs and concussive blows. Can they get the cocoon out? Cry has already used his ghost. Gets a little bit of damage in with the Tides of Blood. Exhaust going to come across. He gets hit up by that cocoon. Does not have the ultimate. And Che, oh, the true shot barrage barely misses him. The heal is enough to keep him alive. Now Cry getting hit up by that arrow from Pilot. Wow, Che actually living, and now Kuzan coming in, looking for Gorilla. Cry as well, stuck. Gorilla's gonna go down. That's first blood, going over to Kuzan. Pilot following in, getting the slows in onto Prey, and now the teleport coming through from Trey's gonna be very late match by Smeb. Cry gets locked up by the Frozen Tomb, and he's gonna go down. Kuzan finishing him off with the Petrifying Gaze, and Peanut in a bad spot, but Winged is out of mana, so he can't finish him off, but this is gonna be JinAir picking up 2 kills, and now the Infernal Drake.
Yeah, JinAir tried to play hard mode in game 2 and got punished for leaving the Vladimir open, and now in game 3, they were very, very aggressive to a fault, going for a kill on an Alistair. They over-pursued, they give away 2 kills, now they give away an Infernal Drake as well. And, you know, we talked about this in game 1, when they made some cute moves that they were punished for. They were able to turn on the style from there. Game 2, punished in game 3. seem to be punished as well.
Yeah, we'll take another look at this one. Just pursuing way too deep, unable to get the kill onto the Alistar. No ultimate. That's just, a rough spot to be in.
Look, you can definitely feel hard done by. Ezreal definitely could have clipped. Lots of things could have gone better. But at this point, when you basically 3 men committed to coming close to turret diving, this is great terrain for someone like Cassiopeia to fight on. I like the aggression from Pilot, who's known to be too safe in a lot of those initiations. And great teleport from Trace. He teleports first. Smeb, uncharacteristically, is the second one to react. And just a comedy of errors from ROX Tigers.
I think I didn't see Smeb's positioning on the minimap, but I would guess that he was worried that if he started channeling first, the Frozen Tomb would just come in and completely disconnect him. I'm not sure, but at the same time, he didn't get the pillar to interrupt that of Trace's, so maybe it was just a timing issue with the cooldown. I don't know, but either way, definitely bizarre having him react that late, because he basically started channeling when Trace arrived.
You have to remember also that he was a Trundle. At that point would have had boots and a couple of long swords, so he's not really looking to fight anyway. Teleport Lissandra and Teleport Trundle are two opposite ends of the scale when it comes to impact for early to mid-game teleport. Lissandra has CC much like a Maokai, even from range with the targeted CC, so at the end of the day, you really don't want to teleport, was kind of forced to counter teleport, couldn't get anything out of it, so wins in so many different ways for JinAir Green Wings. Only a small lead, but worrying signs for ROX Tigers.
Yeah, a lead is a lead. And again, that Infernal Drake is going to be doing work for them as they continue through this. See the Morellonomicon going to be coming through for Trace up top. Meanwhile, looks like we'll be having that Abyssal Scepter in the mid for Kuzan with the tiers stacking up, so he's going to be in a good spot. Cry does have that Spectre's Cowl completed now, so will alleviate a bit of the pressure. Allow him to deal some more damage, but Peanut actually waiting in the wings, but it's going to get spotted out.
The minions were walking towards him, so that means there was perhaps a ward in the brush. I couldn't catch if one just went down, but regardless, back away from the side of Gragas. Yeah, I mean, the first Infernal Drake certainly not back-breaking from the side of ROX. They are a team Snowball in the mid-game.
Oh, well, that's not good. Prey getting jumped on, taking a bunch of damage. Pilot not able to follow up, though, and of course the arrow is still down on cooldown, so can't follow up the CC and get a guaranteed kill onto that Ezreal, but Prey certainly going to have to be more cautious with his positioning.
Mid-lane matchup, very much as we've seen, very even between the two, which seems to definitely suit Vladimir, who will outscale the Cassiopeia.
Now still both junglers playing around this mid lane, neither able to find an entry. Poking back and forth, but Kuzan having a much better time in this matchup compared to Cry in the last game. Winning out in these trades, as you can see, as that Thunderlords comes through and even keeping it pretty evenly matched in CS.
I mean, Thunderlord's Ignite is a wealth of difference.
Oh boy, Fisher comes through, Pilot gets locked up immediately by the Cocoon, the concussive blows one more, hit will proc it, there it is! They find the kill, Peanut snatches that one. They're going to go for the dive. Gorilla taking this up as Peanut goes in, but they don't have much damage here. Prey comes through now. Will be able to finalize the kill as Peanut juggles over the aggro. And it's a nice double kill pickup for the side of ROX Tigers as they take out the bot lane and put some pressure in onto that tier 1.
Yeah, really precise juggling though. Gorilla lives on a sliver of health, maybe 50 health. We'll say that's calculated on his side. Important for them to pick up some kills, to get a foothold in this mid game and not have the previous game repeat itself. But JinAir going to get a lot of damage on the mid lane turret.
They might be able to finish it. Never mind. That's going to be Cry going back in to stop them. Dissuade them as much as he can, but they do whittle that thing down pretty damn low. Now Gorilla arrives, so that will confirm the saving of the turret. So ROX will find a slight little reprieve and a bit of a gold lead at the moment. First real one so far. Smeb really far forward. Frozen Tomb comes down straight into the arrow, and there's just really nothing you can hope for. The headbutt back into Pilot. They will find the kill, so JinAir, not resting on their failures, moves straight back in and find another pick.
Yeah, Smeb buys the act, hook, line, and sinker. Walks up, went for a trade, thought the Lissandra was overextended, and sure, he would be able to solo down the Lissandra, but the moment there were reinforcements, and remember, Ashe and Alistar had been off the map for at least 20 seconds at that point. Nice punishment from JinAir.
Yeah. Gorilla shows in the brush. They don't know the Peanuts here, but still not in much of a position to find a pick, just going to be holding on to this tower. So really all they did was give Pilot some free time to wail away at that structure.
Seems to be putting Ezreal in the mid lane for now. They're happy to have Vladimir 1v1 against the Lissandra, of course, because Spirit Viz is doing that double duty against both the Cassiopeia and the Lissandra. Only issue is that it wasn't in a Iceborne Gauntlet first from Prey, so his ability to control the minion wave against Cassiopeia is not going to be outstanding, but decent.
Yeah, looking for the damage coming through, but
And
kite ability is just certainly lacking now.
in a lot of matchups, you wouldn't be able to get away with this because most mid laners have more wave clear or ability to instant push than a Cassiopeia, but
Yeah.
in this particular matchup, you can get away with sending the Ezreal mid lane.
Oh, that's going to be the turret going down up top, which will swing JinAir right back into the lead. Dragon spawning up now, and ROX are very well set to pick this up for themselves, so should just be one Infernal Drake each. Pilot's on their own down. He's going to throw out the arrow, actually. It sails down. Will it connect? Looks like it might. Nice repel there by Peanut. Takes him out of harm's way, and JinAir can't find a pick. They can't collapse, but they might be able to net that mid-tier 1. As no one from ROX is really there to pick up the wave. Looks like they will be able to get that. So 2 tier 1s traded for the Infernal Dragon. That's going to be a pretty good trade if you're JinAir.
Yep, you definitely take 2 turrets. I mean, a single turret against a scaling Drake is decent, but
especially the mid.
2 is a win, and as you say, the mid is the critical one.
Yep, Hawk shot thrown out. Gorilla's coming around the side. We'll get that winner's bite into the Pilot. Smeb buffering back and forth. Not sure if he wants to go in. Looks like he might actually commit to this a little bit, but he's taking some heavy damage from that Ashe. And the Winter's Bite is not going to connect. Now Smeb up here on his lonesome. Not going to be able to do too much to try to push in. Way too dangerous to get that wave to the turret.
It's just surprising to see them posturing so aggressively to dive without vision on an Ashe when Lissandra has teleport, Cassiopeia could rotate over.
Yeah.
It seems unnecessary from ROX because what you get from that kill is so little. There's no objective to take that's critical in that area.
Well, now ROX still in a bit of a pickle. 16 minutes in, only going to be down by about 1,000 gold, so not the worst of circumstances. But who's on this Cassiopeia? He's shown a much more prominent performance compared to Cry in that last game. So landing those petrifying gazes, getting 2 kills already to his name. It's got to be a bit worrisome.
See how the team fighting phase goes. Again, ROX still have late game Vladimir to look forward to.
Yep.
Mid game Vladimir for now. It's just a very tanky build, so.
They have the Ezreal as well, who's still stacking up. The Frozen Fist, or the Iceborne Gauntlet rather, is on its way. They have that Glacial Shroud with the Sheen, so he should be able to back it by that whenever. Trey's going to go in and get 3-man pulverized straight into the Frozen Tomb from Trey's on the Prey, and he is getting locked down. Flashes into the pit. Will keep himself alive. Actually jumps back out. Now Peanut finishes off Trace. This is a nice turnaround here so far by ROX, but here comes Kuzan, finds one. Can he find more? Gorilla throws out the Winter's Bite, but he's taking a bunch of damage from that Cassiopeia. Looks like they will be safe underneath the tier 2. Meanwhile, Cry split pushing up into the top lane onto that tier 1. Peanut, Smeb, and Gorilla feel like they might want to try to defend this tier 1 in the bot. Actually have to retreat from Trey. Jay goes in, not able to find the Pulverize. They get up the Kuzan with the concussive blows, but they get another Pulverize coming through. They lock him up. Peanut comes down and he's going to get popped. Wing finds the kill, and Smeb's going to fall as well. They do finish off the Cassio, but they fall in the end. It's going to be a 3-for-2 in favor of JinAir, but they lose that tier 1 up top.
While the mechanics are really nice from ROX, again, it's going to be a 5v4 at best, so you wonder why they re-engage into the fight. I like the fact that they could skillfully get over the Petrifying Gaze, but defensive play wins you more here. Now, Che is the real MVP. Really nice initiate. They almost take down Prey, but he does Ezreal things, flashing over and then Arcane shifting to stop Cassiopeia from getting an easy exit kill. But again, Vladimir, split pushing in top, no teleport. So this could be the end of things. It could be a turret trade and a trade of kills, a 1-for-1. And Cry getting solo experience in top lane is a win for ROX Tigers, but they get greedy, they get cute, they push up, they don't respect the re-initiation from Che, and although there's some really nice outplays here, another 3-man pulverize, and you're fighting outnumbered. That's the query is why? Why do this? They don't need to. It's not the smart move, but it's the move ROX Tigers chose to make.
I mean, over-aggression is exactly what got them into trouble against SK Telecom, and they're still just replicating those mistakes. They're not playing as conservatively and intelligently as they really need to be, as we've seen from them in the past with Spring. Or even, oh wow, actually I went to hold that thought as Prey gets engaged on. Beautiful petrifying gaze is what I was trying to say there. Now Cry having to flash away to get out of range of that frozen tomb from Trace, and JinAir are just taking hold of this game.
Right, they're making the proactive plays. All the proactive plays from ROX have been ill-advised and punished. That's going to be an inner turret down in the mid lane as well. No longer can Vladimir just walk up and confidently wave clear with 2 turrets not being able to be retreated to. And Smeb walks over. Reactive top lane picks not looking great. And although the Lissandra hasn't necessarily been massive this game, she can still do one thing really well, and that's snowball the mid game with powerful initiation.
Yeah, just her arrival draws out the flashes away from Cry, so it's a good spot to be in if you're JinAir. 2.4 thousand though, again, not the largest lead for them, still able to come back. Is the ROX Tigers, but now they're invading for this red buff. The TP is going to come through, but Peanut's already going to be dead by the time that Smeb arrives. To get the exhaust in on the Trace, they will be able to take him out, so it's a 1-for-1 plus the red buff. Now Cry arriving, actually this could be good for ROX Tigers. Pilot showing up, Kuzan's there, hasn't thrown out the petrifying gaze yet. They're going to find a kill on the Chase, so actually ROX going really aggressive, but still able to turn that one around. They lose Peanut, but they pick up Trace and Jay in the end.
That time the cooldowns, I guess, weren't there for JinAir. Not a lot was thrown out. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow is available. The Petrifying Gaze is available. Cask.
They didn't use really anything outside of the Frozen Tomb and then the Alistar ultimate, and that wasn't enough to save Chase. So actually really bizarre from the rest of JinAir to not utilize those ultimate cooldowns that they had.
I'll need a replay to confirm that everything was available, but on first glance, definitely a bit of a bizarre skirmish in the enemy jungle, because the query comes that what do we say about this ROX Tigers lineup? Build a Spirit Visage, get a Negatron Cloak, and you're basically unkillable to 4 out of the 5 on the side of JinAir, and yet it's been ROX making these aggressive moves and being punished. So why not wait? Why not wait for Magic Resist everywhere and pray to get his items, finish the Muramana, which has to be, what, a minute, 2 minutes away, and really be able to profit? Because for now, it's been those unforced errors. If this was tennis, the unforced errors count for ROX Tigers in this series would have been abnormally high.
Yeah, you can see that damage from the Cassiopeia doing work. Getting in onto that Cloud Drake. Meanwhile, up top, Trace going to get connected onto by that Cloud Drake. He flashes away, but the red buff is ticking, and he goes down. That was just poor play from Trace. He will sacrifice himself, and honestly, ROX probably going to be pretty happy with that one, only losing the Cloud Drake in exchange for that kill up top.
But now you're seeing what happens when Lissandra gets into an extended lane after early laning phase is over. Spirit Visage completed there. Any friends come over, and there's nothing Trace can do. The ult's not enough. With the CC reduction from the Merc Treads, Lissandra in a long lane isn't an option for them, so they're going to be a bit more pigeonholed in their options.
Yeah. I think this is this could be the moment where things start turning around for ROX. They've really shortened the gap. Still down those 2 towers. If they could equalize turret count, they would have a gold lead, albeit not a very large one. But a lead is a lead.
So the way you win now for ROX Tigers is that you see there's pink wards down for JinAir. You clear those out. You get your pink wards always defensively around where you're going, because Lissandra can no longer enter lane against Trundle. Her only option is to go for a sick teleport flank. So you just remove the options for that to happen in any realistic manner, and you profit from it, because that's what Trace is now pigeonholed into. It's no longer applying pressure in lane. It's only looking for the big ultimate play from a teleport flank.
Well, so far they haven't cleared out too much. Some of these wards will be expiring soon in the river. The Scuttle Crab will be going away as well. But Cry is he's making some progress, taking out that pink. There's one more sitting here, but ROX aren't in much of a position to push that far forward. Have to respect the engage from Che if he came over the wall and interrupted that pink ward take. So for the time being, that will be able to remain standing. And this is a little bit worrisome with JinAir with primary vision over this Baron pit for the time being. Cassiopeia, Infernal Drake in their inventory. They could make a very quick attempt at Baron.
Sandra just backing off, as you can see on the mini-map. Game has reached a bit of a lull, as the vision was, as I was kind of alluding to, the big story here. ROX need to dot their I's and cross their T's with vision, because, again, they only know that a teleport play for JinAir is a realistic way to wrestle back control after first a successful invade and then an assassination onto Trace has put them at a very even foothold after some early mistakes.
Yeah. Surprisingly, Prey still not fully stacked to the Muramana.
Which is strange because he rushed the Mana Moon, if you remember.
Yeah, he had that very early, and now you get the passive build on it. So, interesting that he doesn't have that yet completed, but we can only imagine that he's got to be less than a minute away from this.
Yeah, seconds, I have to think. Must be over 700 at this point.
But has the Bilgewater Cutlass in the inventory to go with the Iceborne Gauntlet and that Muramana as he gets ready to come in.
TP play.
Yeah, TP is coming in. It's going to be matched by Smeb as they come up. JinAir trying to get onto Cry. Now it's just going to be a 2v, about to be 2v4. Smeb taking a big chunk out of Kuzan, trying to keep him occupied as best as he can. Cry comes in, trying to evade that Frozen Tomb. The arrow not going to land on the Smeb. He might just be the sacrificial troll. Looks like he will be. As he goes down, JinAir still not in much of a position to go for this Baron yet. Will they make the play? It'd be quite risky, and they could get punished for it.
5-man commit and a couple of important ultimates in the Explosive Cask and the Turn Crystal Arrow for no gain apart from a kill. That's ideal from the side of ROX Tigers.
Yeah.
With that 5-man commit only netting the single kill. They don't lose any pressure on the map either, so big investment for no real gain. There is the Muramana completed for Prey a couple of minutes later than we would have expected.
Yeah, 25. A little bit late on that. I was expecting a 22, but all good. Now he can really start dishing out the damage. Smeb is revived. There's no Scrying Orbs available. JinAir are going to sit in this brush, potentially look for a pick. Scrying Orb thrown down actually inside of the Baron
overextended
pit.
Again.
Yeah, oh boy, Cry. Why are you doing this again?
I don't know.
Oh, so many questions for ROX Tigers. He's going to try to just sprint up the lane as best as he can. Of course, Ghost not available. Nice thing we can pull the dodge out, but Shea is hot on his heels with those Moby Boots. They pop him up, and he is going to go down. So that's a big kill picked up for JinAir. Cry just foolishly pushing forward with limited vision. And now JinAir might be able to go ahead and prep this Baron. Cry's down for 35 seconds. No way of getting there quickly. So Ghost will be down. JinAir just hovering around, trying to bait this out yet again. Do they start up the Baron? They have. True Shot Barrage comes through. We'll spot them.
No, they're not tanking it.
Yeah, I thought they started it, but they're just grouping up inside the pit.
Just the epitome of a rookie mistake from Cry. Doesn't have teleport, of course, on this Vladimir to be able to respond quickly. JinAir have good Baron damage. ROX have to respect it.
They're going to keep trying to bait this, but Smeb can just check with the pillar, and now the Baron does get engaged. And several members of JinAir take huge chunks of their HP, so they actually have to peel back. So nicely done by ROX Tigers, buying time for Cry to respawn, and this might actually open them up for a mid-tier 1. At least get some damage in onto this. Cast gets thrown out.
Surprising that with Wings, with armor and health, they decided not to start the Baron. They have good Baron damage. The poke is really there already from ROX, as you can see.
Yeah, they get some good damage in onto that tier 1, but unfortunately are unable to take it out. But with the recalls coming through, they could just stick around and try to force their way onto this objective. Dragon as well, spawning now in 8 seconds, so there's a couple different directions that ROX could go for. We see Kuzan did go back, now rejoining the team. Peanut waiting over the wall for the fight to erupt. Yeah, wave clears there though.
Well, Drake is the next spawn, so double Infernal, double Cloud. With champions like Elise who want to acquire targets, Elise and Braum do benefit combat related for the Cloud Drake.
Oh, see, this is why Cry didn't get away. It's because they had the Cloud Drake.
Oh, yes.
Now he's got a Cloud Drake, so now they'll just chase each other forever and they'll never get range.
It isn't that they had no vision on the enemy team and he decided to just go for a casual walk in the area where his teammate was picked a minute earlier.
Yeah, well, he was involved in that. He almost got picked himself, and he's just like, this is fine.
Goldfish memory.
Yeah. It's very,
in one ear, out the other.
yeah, very bizarre. I don't know if goldfish have ears, though.
That's true.
Not much to listen to if you sit as a goldfish.
Cry showed in bot lane, but this time was called by his team much earlier.
Oh boy,
the Baron threat's still there.
Nice juke out by Prey. Last second on that arcane shift gets him to safety. And now that's a big tool of engage gone for JinAir. Question is, can ROX do something with this? Trace throws out the glacial path, does not follow it through. And the poke war has ensued in the mid lane.
They still have other initiation, flash headbutt pole, flash from the Sandra are options for them, so the initiation window isn't gone yet.
True shot barrage going to go wide though, only clips a couple of minions. And of course the wave clear from the side of JinAir is still very strong. They have a wave building up on the top that ROX is going to have to answer, so they should be peeling out of this mid lane relatively shortly.
Any sort of gold trading between the two teams does benefit ROX with their Vladimir scaling, especially Trundle also. They will heavily outscale Cassiopeia and Lissandra, so it's all on JinAir to continue to grow the lead they were able to grow in the early game, or they are just waiting for ROX Tigers to outscale them.
Well, they've only moved up about 200 gold in the last 5 minutes or so, because they were sitting at about 700 now at 9. So they're not making too many progressive steps to advance this lead. Of course, they are still a very scary team, and that Crystalline Arrow has come back up here for Pilot. Who's on waiting in the brush. Recall comes through from Che. So they might be able to push up and clear out some of this vision in and around the Baron Pit, but it looks like ROX still just a little bit too timid to go for that. And wisely so, that he get engaged on in a second.
I'd love to see the 4 pink ward investment like we saw in a previous series today around Baron, because JinAir are kind of in a bind. Their issue is they have really good Baron damage. They have people that could tank it, but if you get it down to 3,000 health and Vladimir shows up and Hemoplagues you, you're screwed. So right now it's kind of that delicate balance between, okay, we do a lot of Baron damage with Cassiopeia and Ashe, but they're also squishy, so we can't really funnel in. That's why they've been going for the picks around, because if they can get exclusive vision and someone eats a Lissandra ultimate, an Alistair combo, an Ashe ult, they do have excellent single target damage to take that person down. But without 4 pink wards, without guaranteed exclusive control around that area, they find it hard to actually peel away and get the pick that actually makes taking Baron a realistic objective right now.
Yeah, I mean, we can see the True Shot Barrage there by Prey just being used to sweep for vision. The Scrying Orb comes down as well, and JinAir still going to be hovering in here, looking for a pick, waiting for somebody to come into them.
They're still a couple of pink wards short of having exclusive vision in the area, so even though there's only a single Scrying Orb left for ROX, they're not willing to try this Baron, JinAir.
JinAir says, no, we saw that last series. We saw what KT did.
But when KT did it right, they did it really right.
Oh, yeah. No,
and what JinAir's doing now is that they're meandering. And during this time, ROX is getting farm on the people that will outscale. So in 5-6 minutes time, we stay at this particular gold lead or lack thereof. You can't be surprised if ROX wins the team fight and wins the game.
Oh, well, Arrow comes out and does find Gorilla. Meanwhile, Trace gets caught up by the Cocoon. Looks like they might just blow up the Braum, and they will as he flashes away. Winged will finish him off with the Drunken Rage hit. And that should open up JinAir. TP is going to be coming through from Smeb. Ward straight in onto the mid lane, and JinAir is just sticking around. Here
we
comes
go!
Jay. Big pump up. Prey goes back off the explosive cast. He goes down. Now Cry sitting in here with the Zonias after the Frozen Tomb. Goes straight into the Sanguine Wolf. Gets a big heal off from the Hemoplague. Is able to flash out to safety. But 2 members down. Prey and Gorilla gone. ROX. It's a far cry hope that they can secure this Baron for themselves. It would be a suicide attempt by Peanut if he's able to secure this.
He's the same level as Peanut. He's the same level. Actually, he's a level ahead of Wings. There's a very real chance he can take it.
But he's already used the repel, and now he's taking
Still
damage
has
over the wall.
flash.
Yeah, he'd have to flash in, which would be a surefire way of getting killed. Does he
He's
go
gonna
for
go
this
for it.
one? Looks like he might, but he just gets soloed out. They take him down. Kuzan finds the kill, and now Cry on the run goes back into the Sanguine Pool, but he is going to fall in the end of things. Smeb goes in, is able to take out Pilot, but the Baron goes over to JinAir. Smeb will fall, and that is going to be an effective ace and a Baron pickup here by JinAir, who suddenly have a very firm hold on this game.
Triple kill for Kuzan at the end, and JinAir finally thought it through. Look through on your minimap. 1 pink ward cleared out, double around the Baron, and 1 to the top as well. They got those 4 pink wards down. They got the first face check from Gorilla, and then a really nice flash headbutt pulverized from Che. They wombo down the Ezreal, and even though Pilot gives up his life kind of needlessly on the back end, they get the Baron they were angling for, and finally, they hit the crescendo of pink wards, and that made it safe enough for JinAir to take the Baron.
And there's just no reason for Prey to be up that far with Gorilla getting caught like that. Send Gorilla in first, sit back, shoot a Mystic shot or 2. But opts to go forward, and Che capitalizes in fantastic fashion. Now you can see 10 seconds out, a second Infernal Drake for either of these teams And you can really only expect that it goes over to JinAir. Peanut not in the vicinity at all. They got a miraculous steal with a true-shot barrage from Prey. But he's not even going to shoot that one out. So there we go. 2 Infernal Drakes now. Elder going to be the next dragon spawning. Baron for JinAir. And they are looking poised to take this game and close out a series over the ROX Tigers.
And 3 carry builds when you have a Lissandra top for JinAir, benefiting from 16% bonus statistics. Lissandra going to be able to push with a plenty. Not going to be able to delete herself because she doesn't have Void stuff, but certainly will aid in picks. And getting on top of Bray, who does have QSS, I guess will be tricky, but any target, any 5v4, and JinAir will win the game.
Yeah, you can see JinAir just whittling away at that turret very quickly, burning it down. Trace threatens forward with that glacial path. Not going to follow it in yet. Winged and Kuzan waiting over the wall, seeing if ROX are going to pull the trigger, and if they have an in, try to sweep them out, but they're playing this very methodically, very intelligently, waiting for the waves to crash, not getting overzealous. Going to Ham. Here comes Trace, now comes in, does get popped up, and immediately deleted, actually, is going to be Smeb. Barry does find that kill on the Trace, and now Peanut, though, taking up the damage in the front line, was able to finish off Kuzan. This could be the opportunity for them to turn it around, but Pilot is still alive and well. Jay going to sacrifice himself as he gets that 2-man pulverize. In the end, it will be a 3-for-2 in favor of ROX. But still very closely fought, but they take those buffs off the table. Now just Winged and Pilot going to have Baron for a little bit of time, and they're able, crucially, to hold on to that tier 2 in the bottom side.
So while Peanut couldn't win the game, he got them back in the game here. Watch the claw from Lissandra into an instant cocoon. Predicted it. He thought, I'm going to take it in. You could have flashed and gone for a play like that as Lissandra, but decided to go the greedier route, was punished. They win a fight they had no business doing so. Behind in gold against Baron buff. They find themselves the reprieve that honestly they didn't deserve.
Well, nicely played by ROX, still keeping this a very close game. 2.5 thousand currently separating them, down by 2 kills, and also down those 2 turrets. And the fact that they're able to come out, not only playing against Baron up JinAir, but also playing against a double Infernal Drake JinAir. It's very crucially won fight there by ROX Tigers, and shows that they still do have some hope for coming back into this game, but it's still looking pretty grim. They need to create some picks. They need to get a big turnaround and net themselves a gold lead.
Yeah,
but so far it's been evading them.
Yeah, clutch players have to be rewarded. Wonderful play on the cocoon. The young man mechanics versus the old man mechanics with Peanut and Trace.
Yeah.
And if you mess up your initiation, that's the whole reason you pick Lissandra. So gonna try again.
Shot rush comes out. Smeb gonna get locked up. Frozen Tomb straight into the crystalline arrow. Popped up as well, but he's still alive and healthy. Relatively, you can see that Glacial Fissure buying some time. JinAir, however, they got what they came for. They picked up the tier 2, and they stretched that gold lead just a little bit further.
But worrying, I think, when you use that much on a Trundle and he leaves at half health.
Sure, and he's also about to get a Guardian Angel.
Should be focusing him at the best of times. Guardian Angel perhaps will be the ultimate dissuasion, but some of the tools are coming through. Vladimir, tough man to lock down, as the Zonias himself. At least went for an early Banshee Veil, which very atypical for Peanut to go for any defensive stats on the Elise, but very necessary. QSS available for Bray. I think the strategy around Baron is the smart one. Just kill Gorilla, because the utility Gorilla provides over a long fight with the stand behind me, and
concussive blows, yeah.
Both the stun and the shield are massive, so the Unbreakable does so much value as the game scales because it still does that flat damage reduction.
This is going to be a very hefty lifesteal build here for Prey when he finishes out that Mercurial Scimitar, because he's already got the Blade of the Rune King and the Bloodthirster. We could just see the Bork sold, actually, and go for something a little bit more flat AD, perhaps armor penetration, something from like a Last Whisper, Lord Dominic's Regards, or maybe even an Infinity Edge. But
you don't need it, Achilles, because it's Lissandra, Cassiopeia, Ashe. Like, none of them are going to build any defensive stats. You staying alive as Ezreal is the consistent damage that is required to take down the fight. So this is very much the shield and cleanse build to do consistent damage. Sure, you're not going to be exploding people, but you're going to live long enough to actually output damage during the fight.
Very true. The ROX pushing forward. Now we have the Elder Dragon and Baron spawning within 15 seconds of each other. And just about a minute now on that Baron, so it's going to be a very heightened situation to be in. 3 dragon buffs, of course, for the side of JinAir.
And we always come back to that old conundrum of the Infernal Drake versus the Baron. ROX Tigers in this situation, of course, took the Baron. I still think Baron is heavy favorite, but it's JinAir. You know,
they have a double Infernal.
The big cost, right, in taking Infernal is the short window, a minute and a half. Not every team comp can force a fight in a minute and a half as Prey casually shifts away from the combo.
Nope.
But JinAir does have that comp. They have Ashe Arrow, they have Lissandra Teleport, they have Gragas Cast. They can force fights in a 5v5 group situation, so it's not ideal, but let's say someone from JinAir's picked off, ROX Tigers take Baron, and JinAir can sneak the Infernal Drake, they still would have a realistic shot at winning the game.
Elder Drake.
Yes, Elder Drake.
But it would buff up their Infernals.
It just feels like Infernal Drake is the best.
I mean, it's the only thing really getting buffed. It would take them to 24%. It effectively makes them have triple Infernal Drake. But you also get that additional burn damage from having those 3 buffs, so it would be a pretty good spot to be in for them. So might be one of those rare occasions where it's almost better than the Baron itself.
So many mind games when all these completed items come through, like Banshee's Veils, because there's those weird scenarios where does Gragas just ult to remove a Banshee Veil and then they go for a pick with Lissandra? Like, there's weird interactions when so many defensive items are completed for ROX Tigers when it comes to getting a pick, because it's still fiercely single target on the side of JinAir Green Wings. They want to kill one person and make it a 5v4, and ROX have all taken preventative measures to stop that happening.
I gotta say, big props to JinAir so far, holding onto this turret for 40 minutes now in the mid lane. Tier 1 just not going down, and you can see ROX still not in a comfortable spot to go for it. Pillar comes down, that might be enough to just
Pilot's
them.
so low.
Pilot takes a huge chunk of damage from that True Shot Barrage. Now Baron has spawned. ROX are pinging onto the. Do they start this? This would be pretty risky, though they did chunk out the Ashe. Looks like they're just going to go for this one. No Mountain Drakes on either side to assist in taking this. They have to really show respect to that AoE damage potential of JinAir. He goes in. It's going to be confirmed by Peanut. They pick up the kill. Trace sitting in there with a Frozen Tube down onto himself, straight into the Zonias. Meanwhile, Cry going in deep, gets a huge heal straight into the Zonias himself with that Hemo Plague. They're able to take out Kuzan. Pilot's going to go down as well. Now it's going to be Trace getting popped, and this is the big turnaround fight from ROX Tigers onto JinAir. They take out Wing. Che is going to fall, and ROX just blew this game wide open, finally netting themselves a gold lead to TP to the top lane here from Smab. He's going to be able to burn through that tier 2. And my God, JinAir just let it all slip right through their fingers.
And if we're going to credit the itemization on the side of ROX, we have to question Pilot. Still no lifesteal at 41 minutes. The moment he was chunked out, of course you go for Baron, because there's no way for Pilot to get back in that fight on equal footing. And he's an Ashe who doesn't have mobility to begin with.
They have 30 seconds. Do they just
I
go
think the
for
game's
this?
over.
Yeah, they have Baron buff and triple cannon minions. ROX Tigers are just going to go for this one. After being down the entire game at 41 and a half minutes, they are going to come back, sweep through JinAir, take the Baron, and take out the Nexus. ROX Tigers with a huge comeback victory, and that has got to sting if you're JinAir.
There's smiles on the faces of some of them, but you look at Gorilla, you look at Prey, the smiles aren't that wide, Achilleos, because this was a bit of a highway robbery.
Cryder looks like he just ran a marathon.
And Peanut's always smiling, but a highway robbery was enacted by ROX Tigers. This should have been JinAir's series, but they got outthought at the last. They let the game go for a while. They thought out the Baron well, so credit to them on that. But not having lifesteal on Pilot, who so often this season has taken a lot of gold and not given back much. He got poked out. ROX went for the assertive Baron they're so well known for. No way for Wing to contest, and from there, you're opting into Baron buff, late game Vladimir damage. The Hemo Plague went down on 4. Nothing they could do. And ROX Tigers still won away.
That's just such a rough loss there by JinAir. The only loss rougher than that I can think of was MVP losing to KT Rolster, but if you take a look at the damage, I mean, they beat out ROX in pretty much every single classification. Kuzan coming up huge with the Cassiopeia yet again. Pilot on this Ashe. The arrows were landing fairly consistently, and it was all looking so well. Look how much damage Cry was able to do in that Vladimir. It was just a pittance compared to that of JinAir, but one wrong play around the Baron, getting Pilot chunked out, not having that lifesteal, it just cost them the game.
ROX Tigers made a lot of mistakes in the early game, made a lot of mistakes over the course of this series, but when the late game hits, one mistake, as you can see, just being out of position, eating a lot of poke from their Baron buff, and the game ending was the result for ROX Tigers. JinAir looked pretty shattered. It was a long series, not in traditional JinAir style at all. It just took tips and turns we didn't expect. I think ROX stole it away. On balance, I think JinAir were the deserving winner of this series, but credit ROX Tigers. When it mattered, they made the right call. They went for the assertive Baron. They ended the game, and they come away the win.
That they do, but definitely gonna have to make some improvements there if you're the ROX Tigers, because again, coming up next week on Wednesday, they go up against KT Rolster, who granted made some severe mistakes in their series against SK Telecom earlier today, but in that first game, we're very much in control and unrelenting. So they're gonna have to make some improvements if they want to take down KT Rolster, because they still look like they are a very big contender for second place here in LCK.
The other booth, 5 series losses in a row, a record only equaled by Longzhu. And okay, they have 2 game victories in there, but 5 losses in a row is 5 losses. So JinAir, their hopes of making playoffs, they looked entrenched in early in the season, almost completely gone. As Gorilla will be your MVP for this final match. Yeah. Almost 90% kill participation, very popular with this bipartisan crowd.
Yeah, you can hear the fangirls going wild over that one. That's his first MVP vote, 88% kill contribution, only dying twice and picking up 14 assists in that match. Overall, he's just doing a pretty damn good job on the Braum.
He did his job. It wasn't an easy one. Did some heavy lifting. Was caught out around the Baron that led to JinAir picking up their first Baron of the game, but otherwise was fairly immaculate. And of course, the upside of him winning the MVP is that we get to hear his brain being picked by Cloud Templar and Dongjun. We're just watching the replay of some of the players around this game. It was very much a team effort, both in a good way and a bad sense for ROX Tigers.
This is a really good juggle here. Very well calculated by the side of ROX. Gorilla barely making it out alive. And then here, somehow turning around this red buff take that we thought was going to cost ROX everything.
Really nice positioning on the Unbreakable. They fought around a fight that honestly looked like it was going to be another snowball towards JinAir.
And that was Peanut's play through and through.
That play was the only one that stopped JinAir from just icing out the game at that point, I have to say. But a couple of mistakes from here, and ROX Tigers, in the most unlikely of fashion, found their way with a series win.
Well, has to feel good to win, but maybe not as good as it could have been if it was a little bit cleaner. So they definitely have to just go back to the drawing board and think about how this game went, what mistakes they made to put themselves in such a precarious position, and then just work on those fundamentals, because KT Rolster is going to be a bit more of a formidable opponent compared to JinAir Green Wings.
I mean, a series win is what you expected, but in the manner that you took it, you definitely come away from a series like this as the ROX Tigers with probably more questions and queries than anything else.
Yeah. Well, of course, Gorilla will be joining Peanut as our MVPs for today. We'll have an interview with both